Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. Game 3 of ETC between Team Switzerland and Team Sweden. So definitely going to be an exciting round. Yeah, we had a good first day, I can say. So capping Portugal and then winning against Germany. Not a big win, but still a decent win with 86. So we felt good facing Sweden, who are former winners. So definitely, yeah, something we need to pay attention. We target a win, obviously. And we identify some special lists. There are some concept lists, like we could say. So I was eager to discover if the lists were good or not. It's sometimes a bit the surprise that can caught you off guard. So you need to pay attention to the unusual tricks. And definitely also this warrior list was a bit special in this regard. By the way, you can see his beautiful army. He had a Nork teamed Warrior of the Dark God list army. So really very good looking. You see the base are amazing. The painting job, well done. So I love the scheme. Yeah, very nice contrast. So beautiful army. Really a pleasure to play against his army. You know my list. This was his list. So unusual, like I said, we have two mages. So a lot of investment in magic with like 1,000-point magic. Then big brick of great weapon Wrath Warrior in core. A unit of 8 horsemen for the general. Then we have 5 Chosen Knight. The usual grid build with Wasteland Torch. 9 Warrior Knight of slot with great weapon. 4 Wretched One. And then the rest you have 4 chaff, anti-chaff units, which are quite cheap. And an Elmo. So not a lot of list of warrior played the Elmo. This was definitely something unusual. And as you can see, he has plenty of chaff that he can potentially use in the game. So it's going to be interesting for me, because I can also take easily those points. So that's a type of point that I like to get with my magic and my shooting. So the type of matchup that I kind of like. We are playing secure target on frontline clash, and below you have the spell selection of both players. Matchup, so regarding secondary objective, I think I would rather like to have close target. You know my list, it needs to play close to each other to have a solid leadership bubble. And also, he has Elmo, meaning he will be eager to play on a wide board. So if I can reduce the part of the map where we play for the secondary objective, this is definitely going to be in my advantage. Obviously, starting is often interesting against War of the Dark God, and especially here. If I start, it means that I can place my secure target second. So if I can start, I think that's the best setup that I can wish for. Range damage, board control is definitely something that matters a lot, and if you start, you can establish that. Prime range damage target is going to be chaff, easy point, and also if he has no chaff, it's going to be very hard to push, because in 1-1 fights in this game, my 3 main unit will just do too much if I charge him. Elmo, keep in mind to zone the gates, something unusual, so that's something you need to pay attention, because if you can move out of your line of sight, it could be really hard. And I put down in the matrix, I think a 12. Deployment, so quite happy that he won the roll for sight, and I get to start and play the second token. What surprised me a bit is his choice to pick the top part of the map with the impassable. I thought he would have liked to give me this impassable to make harder for me to play between or around the impassable. So not something I expected, and he plays his secure target here, which is not the zone that is the easiest for him to get. So I was a bit surprised by that. Obviously I place mine here in the middle as close as possible to this one, and I drop everything between those two targets. So for me it was an easy choice to do that, but I think if I were him, I would have probably done the opposite, choose the opposite side, and probably place mine, yeah, something close to this impassable. I think feels good. I think the placement of the token is right, but I think he should have taken my side with a heal and especially no impassable, and especially, I think the most important, giving me the impassable, which is not something I like a lot to play around the impassable. So here I was a bit surprised by that, but I think it's to my advantage. He changed this piece of terrain in a ruin, and I deploy everything from left to right. We have the Frosty, the Merc Vets, Shooty Merc Vets, then we have Tribesman, Halberd Guy, the Dogs, the Death Star with the 3 remaining characters, so 2 mages, the Great Khan, the 3 Tribesmen, and on the far right we have the Giant. And his counter deployment, so he plays on the left Flayers, Chimera, then we have here the Mage Bunker, so Horseman with the General, Chimera, Elmo, Slot Knights, Chosen Knight are here, then we have a Warrior in the middle with the Occultist Mage, and here the Wretched One to counter the Giant, which makes, I think, a lot of sense. The only one thing that surprised me is this chaff here on the left. I think doesn't achieve anything too crazy. I understand the fact that he can go out of my line of sight, and I don't get that much about it. I think it would have probably been more interesting to have for him at least one of those in the middle of his line ready to be activated at some point to have the possibility to be more aggressive. My turn 1, so I move forward. I march with pretty much everything. He put obviously my shooting Murgrets out of range, so I have to march to get some board control, and I place everything to have a good line of sight and charge options. In the magic phase, I failed Pyroclastic Flow on the Chimera, so it didn't start well, but it ended up really nice because I one-shot the Chimera with a Fireball. So that was a crazy roll for me. And that's the Chimera in the center that died. He passes the 8 rollable on the Mage Bunker, which is obviously an important check as well, and I have no shooting this round. His turn 1. The Flayers move in my backline. I don't care too much, like I said, for the moment. I can take care of them later, and I don't... It doesn't bother me if he goes in my backline at the moment because it's not chaffing me forward. The Chimera didn't move much, which surprised me a bit. I thought he would have tried to push it laterally as much as he could to try to force me to really turn around if I want to shoot him and then not look at the rest of his battle line or struggle to cover the gates. As you can see, the gate have those little markers, so it plays, I think, this one first, and on this round is going to place this one. So he has 2 markers, and I need to keep that in mind and cover them. Wretched One push towards my Giant. My Giant cannot take this fight at the moment, especially also with him having counter charges, and the rest just move slightly forward. In the magic phase, Silver Spike did nothing on my Frosty, but Quicksilver Lash did 2 wounds. As you can see, his mage is right here. Quicksilver Lash did 2 wounds to my Frost Mammoth, so it's a first warning for me. My turn 2. I move the Frosty inside the ruin just in front without marching, so I'm going to have 2 shots to try to make him panic. Could be interesting. Here I have the poison shooting targeting the Chimera. Could be really interesting to get rid of him. Other than that, just push slightly forward. I'm well positioned at the moment. In magic phase, I get a Fireball that did 5 wounds to the Wretched One, so Fireball continued to be crazy. He dispelled the 2d6 strength 4, the Pyro Flow, and shooting I one-shot the Chimera. So really nice. I killed both Chimera in 2 rounds, so really nice. And I did nothing in the shooting against the Flayers. His turn 2. Flayers pass the march check, continue to march in my backline. Wretched One move a bit towards the Giant, but as you can see, they are not so strong as before. Since I killed 1.5. So if I kill another one, maybe then later I can engage. The rest remains a bit where it is. And here places Mage in a position to blast me, but not inside the unit, I think, to avoid potential charge from the dogs. So I think that was the idea of this position with his Mage. In magic phase, he get an Hereditary that miscast. He did 2 wounds to my dog, I think with the Hereditary. And he miscast and did 2 wounds to his Mage. And that's a lot because his Mage is now on 1 wound remaining. And he's alone. So that's huge. And Silver Spike did a good Silver Spike, 5 wounds, so that's the max against the Tribesman that passed the 9 rollable. My turn 3, obviously I'm going to try to capitalize on the fact that this guy is on 1 wound. So I place BSB and 1 guy are able to shoot him in hard cover, but the BSB always hit on 4+ and has poison. Then I place this guy in front of them to chaff them. I pass the march and suffer, I think, no wounds. Other than that, yeah, I keep the Murgrets in a nice position to shoot those guys. Oh no, to shoot the general, obviously, and still cover this this gate. And the rest, yeah, I continue to zone and try to target him with magic. I move back with the Giant. In the magic phase, I get a Fireball on 2 dice against 1 that did 2 wounds to the Wretched One, and then I rolled a crazy Swarm of Insect with 29 hits, so 6, 6, 6, 6, and 5, almost the max, but did only 2 wounds to the Wretched One, so it was still okay at the end. And with shooting, yeah, the 6 shot, the BSB ended up killing his general. He passes the 8 rollable, but the general is dead. That's 800 points for me and no master anymore, so that's huge. Definitely that's huge. His turn 3, Flayers pass the march check, move towards here. Wretched One alone move towards here. The rest doesn't move that much. In the magic phase, he gets he failed the ward save and he got Rot Within with 4 dice against my 5 on my Death Star. A bit annoying, not the end of the world, but a bit annoying because Chosen Knight have, I think, Def 6 and I have off 2 now with the bruisers, which is a bit annoying. He can hit me on 2+ and so on. So I definitely need the halberdiers in good position to cover those guys. The Death Star alone is not sufficient anymore. That's it, my turn 4. Nothing crazy. I attempt a charge with the Frosty on 8 Swift Stride against those guys. He passes the tower check and I fail my charge. Unfortunately, I use the Giant to chaff him. Turn around with the Mage here, the Pyro Mage, to try to cast spell at him. Yeah, rearrange my line, but still the same. As you can see, open a gate right here. I'm still covering those positions with my Merc Vets that could move around and charge if something popped here. So I'm well positioned at the moment, pretty much in control of the board. What happened in Magic? I do 2 wounds to the wretched one, so 1 wound left, and then Swarm of Insect did 1 wound to his Elmo, and with shooting I kill 5 of the horsemen, 3 left. He failed the 3rd attempt of 8 rerollable and go off the board. So that's nice. That's more point for me. So really nice. Not so fortunate for my opponent. Obviously, it's turn 4. The Flayers failed the mark check, but I basically covered all the position that he could take. If failing the mark check, I think if he passes it, maybe he could move here, but still I would have probably a charge with the Giant, maybe. I don't know, but I was well positioned to cover most of the angle. So he goes in front of my mage unit, but I still have a breast weapon, and I think I do more than him if I charge, so I should be fine. Other than that, not much to say. I think that's the point where he time out, and basically his captain told him, yeah, just play safe, save the point that you can, but basically it's going to be impossible for him to push here, since I have chaff, he has no chaff, so if he tries to move forward, I can chaff 2 units, and then push, try to get some charges, so it's too risky for him to go in my charge range at the moment. Magic phase, nothing crazy happened. That's it, my turn 5. I charge into combat, realign my starting line, prepare basically for the scoring secondary, place this guy here, and basically nothing too crazy happening in Magic phase. I get +1 strength in the close combat. Shooting, I kill 4 of the cavalry, so of the Chosen Knight, which was crazy. In close combat with +1 strength, so I'm strength 5, I kill 3, but he managed to do 4 wounds, which surprised me a lot. So with high combat, not the end of the world. I'm going to break him next round, but yeah, with breast weapon, all this strength 5 attack, I expected to break him easily or to kill him easily, but didn't happen, so not the end of the world. His turn 5, nothing crazy happened, to be honest. My turn 6, took my time out to see if I should 4 dice or not to kill the wretched one, because I needed either to kill the Flayers or to kill the wretched one, so I put myself in position to get both. We decided to take no risk, and it's finally, the final wound was done by the Great Khan that managed to hit on... Did I move? Yeah, maybe not. So I think on 4+ or 5+, and then wounds on 3+, and I just did the last wound with that. So that was really nice. So that was it. Basically, it was enough for me to take a 15 and then +3 with the secondary, which makes it an 18, and I basically lost nothing. So I really lost 0 point, which was nice. The type of game that I like a lot, because I had control all game long, no risk taken, and still a big win at the end. So I think post-game analysis, obviously I was really happy to start. I think the most important role was to be able to start and get the token close to each other. So I think that was huge. I think on a macro level, I already had an advantage. The fact that my opponent gave me this part of the map that I like, I can place them close to each other, deploy everything, push in between, and some of his chaff was out of position. I think that was already huge. After the end of deployment, we see that I am in the driving seat to get a good win here. Yeah, turn 1, Ogre, obviously a first key moment, killing the Chimera, luckily with a fireball, was huge into deleting one of his chaff option, because he could have potentially chaffed me and then try to push at some point, especially at the beginning. So that was huge to deal with his only central chaff early on. Hard for the War of the Dark God to push after I killed the both Chimera, to be honest. The rest of the chaff was too far from the action, so after that it's impossible for him to move forward, because I can just charge and delete any of his unit on the charge, most likely with some combat buff. Covering the Elmo gates all game long, he was obviously unlucky with his mage to suffer the 2 wounds with the miscast and then get killed. I think it was like 4 dice on the spell on the hereditary, and then got killed by the shooting. That was obviously unfortunate for him. Yeah, could happen. And my damage spell proven to be very effective against the wretched one. Basically, I kill everything except a wound, and then I finish it with the Orc crossbow. So very nice. And as usual, my list performed very well in KG game like that, when it's all about the standoff, getting control, and try to score the secondary. Yeah, to the round it went really well. We won 95. As you can see, some big wins. We have a 19, 18 on my table, then 14, 14 to time. We also have suffered a big loss between their Imperial Empire of Zunstal and our Dwarvenhold MSU list, so that was a crazy game, and a couple of draws, and at the end it's enough for us to have a solid win against Sweden. So thanks a lot to Sweden. They were very friendly guys. I enjoy a lot this round. It was really cool also to have a chat with some of their players and also the coach. So really nice to talk with all the team. They are very nice guys. So that was a nice round, and for us obviously very nice to get a good win at this point of time in the tournament. The big teams, they had a couple of close rounds, so that was definitely a round that was very interesting for us. And the next round for us was going to be against Italy, the champion of the world. So definitely going to be an interesting game and round to analyze. Guys, thanks a lot for watching this battle report. I hope you liked it, and talk to you soon on my channel for the game number 4. Bye.